it's fascinating. You live in a town day in, day out, never wondering what makes it special, and then the angle shifts a little and you see it all differently. It's the same with a wife. Take mine, for instance. You know the type. Cute, alert, good mother, first-class citizen. A real doer-gooder. But knowing every technique in the book. How you barge in on a new neighbor to sign her up, even before her furniture's arranged. How you dodge traffic and exhibit yourself outside the supermarket, just in front of the children's wear shop, so you can separate total strangers from their money. Kids, too, if they happen to be around. But she must be good, because she comes back loaded every time. My trouble was, well, I never really understood how much all this meant to her. Now take home some night. Let's say she's working. I sit there reading. Once in a while, I make a weighty remark. You know, she doesn't really hear me. She hears the refrigerator or the percolator all right, but not me. Not if she's checking receipts or delinquents or something. And if I get riled and slam the door, she never even budges. I just become the little man who wasn't there. I want to go bowling, she has to knit for a bazaar. I ask her to pick up my pants from the cleaner. Where is she? Making cookies with that chapter president of hers for a do-it-yourself dinner or something. You know why? So they can make money to buy working pants made in Israel for their doctors. I know what she's doing is important. Yet if I call up and bawl her out, she makes me feel positively antisocial. But don't worry. Before she was through, she taught me something tremendous. You see, I didn't really know why they all kept rushing around like crazy. Always hoping the kids wouldn't get into a mess, but rushing all the same. Why, one of them once stuffed the garbage into the bread box and left the fresh rolls to be collected by the garbage man. She was in such a hurry. I'll tell you when they showed me why they were so head up about their way of helping Israel. It was the day they had that meeting to honor my wife for becoming Woman of the Month. She invited me. I said no. But after it began, I sneaked in all the same and listened. You know the routine, everybody talking at once, the chairman hollering, "Raise your hands, ladies, when your names are called." Then the chairman said, "Ladies, now I'm proud to present our own Woman of the Month, who has just returned from a prize trip to the National Office of Hadassah, a trip she earned for raising the most money and enrolling the most members in our region." And they clapped. So my little cookie gets up, real shy but happy, keeps telling them, it's you they honored, not me. It's because of what we do together for our people in Israel that I was invited to National. And then she tells them what she saw in New York.
You all know I've been to 52nd Street and Park Avenue, New York City 100 times, but never to try and find my own building. I just couldn't believe it when I saw that elegant store and realized we were the landlords, and looked up at the facaded windows and realized that's ours. Our chapter dues money helped buy it and build it, and now we maintain it. Girls, it was just terrific. Well, that lobby's just the busiest place. Something's happening all the time, and everything's so modern. So I go to the receptionist and say, "Where's the chairman who signed this letter?" And she says to go to the 5th floor. But I have letters on the brain, so I follow the man with the mailbag and don't notice that when I press up, he presses down. Of course, right away, I don't know where I'm going. I'm lost. But when I get below level, I don't care. All around what sounds like a factory working. And before you know it, I'm in the mailroom. I tell you the truth, when I saw those thousands of kits being mimeographed and those hundreds of letters, your woman of the month got sort of cut down to size. My poor little letter sort of shrank. I thought, I'll sneak out. I'll go back upstairs. But right next door, they were also making a racket. It turned out to be the addressographing department. So I go in, and I show the girl my letter. But she thinks I'm asking about my name, not the chairman's. And what do you think? She takes me over to the files, and from a wall full of plates, 300,000 of them, she finds my name. Just like that. I can't tell you what a kick it gave me. She explained we were all there on the desks, on the chairs, being processed, you understand. Anyhow, she said I should go to the second floor. Everybody's so nice to you, so courteous, and everything's so businesslike. I tell you, the bookkeeping, excuse me, the Treasury Department is like, well, it's like a bank. You can feel how much there is to do there the minute you approach. The bookkeeping machine's going, the girls so concentrated. For a minute there, I admit that our check began to shrink like my letter. But then out comes one of the staff, and the girl shows her our check. And what do you think? She shows me a big financial report and begins explaining.
Really wonderful. Congratulations. See how carefully we keep your accounts. Maintenance here, capital funds here. This is what you've raised for medical center, medical school, and other building and special funds. All earmarked. Now your maintenance breakdowns. This is the money you must raise annually in order to maintain your Israel projects. From dues, of course, comes administration in the United States.
Well, being treated like a financier put me right at my ease. Where's the membership department, I said. You know, sort of owning the place. Just go that-a-way, she says. So that-a-way I go. Incidentally, girls, they do a beautiful housekeeping job in that national office of ours. Everything's so spotless and orderly. Anyway, I come to a sort of secretary pool, and I ask the girl where membership is. So, we're the biggest organization of our kind in the world? But what do you think the membership chairman's office looks like? A little 6x8 room, neat and compact and humming with work. I didn't want to interrupt, so I dropped the membership cards. She seemed to know about our campaign, but she was talking to somebody, so I tiptoed out. You can guess by now that I was determined to get to that 5th floor by stages. Well, on the 3rd, oh, girls, you should see the colors. Yellows, terracottas, blues. I was lucky. I bumped into a group of visitors touring the building, and I asked to join them. They were hearing about the
Your newsletter is the largest Anglo-Jewish paper in the country, ladies. These are page proofs of the next issue. Current situation on front page, feature on Henrietta Szold, and one on the political importance to the United States of arms for Israel. In view of the fact that...
So I think I'm a magazine publisher, too. Then the guide begins her
Now we go
talk.
to your library, ladies, supervised by your education department.
Right now, there's a staff Hebrew lesson going on. Classes of this sort are also given for the national board.
יום שלישי, מחר יום חמישי. איך אומרים answers?
And then came a real bonus, a look at the president's office. The door opened on the most elegant room you ever saw. And the guide identified the president, the executive director, 4 top chairmen, and then the treasurer and 2 ex-presidents. They were talking about our new book, just released by the education department. Behind every door, you'll find a volunteer chairman working like a professional. Youth Aliyah first. This way, please. Hadassah is the official American representative of Youth Aliyah. The funds you raise this year will maintain and educate the 13,000 still in training, and the newcomers who enter. Oh, I think we'd better not disturb her. Now, ladies, this building and valuable land costing $1 million together are being paid for from administration funds. By renting the street floor, amortizing the cost over 20 years, we will save about half of what annual rent for comparable space would have been. The saving will be $800,000.
That was impressive. But so was vocational education, with the chairman beaming as the guide told how we train youth for fashion, homemaking, commerce, precision and printing trades. The others had to leave, so me, I get a personal tour. And the guide says,
"So, you're 40-odd unpaid volunteer chairman. Make it possible for you to run this $10 million a year enterprise with less than 110 paid staff. Oh, now we're coming to HMO Medical Center. That includes your 7 hospitals, 36 health stations, research, fellowships, and buildings. Oh, I hope they're in."
well, we go right in. And as we enter, I see the 2 chairmen in conference. I was actually introduced to both of them. One of them looked just like my sister. They were just going, they said. So please would I excuse them. There was a full national board meeting upstairs, and they had to freshen up. Don't think they didn't remember to ask about our fundraising. Well, you might as well know, girls, that I promised them some summer events to oversubscribe. Well, that nice guide, she's a volunteer too, by the way, left. And I looked around. By now, I was really tired. So, here you are, I thought, alone with the crowning achievement, the medical center. And here's the housing development, the shikun, that's going to surround the center. And it's all yours, ours, Israel's, and America's. Now, the chairman I'd come to see was also in the boardroom on the 5th floor at the meeting. You know me. I just stick my nose right in, and I see the national president and board members on the dais and one of our visiting doctors. And I overhear them okaying the fellowships for next year, and hold your breath, our quotas for next year, too, which must be officially accepted by the convention, she points out, and won't be increased automatically, although our work has grown.
We are running a little late, ladies, so take your vote quietly, please. You know what difficult fundraising problems the chapters have. But remember, these budgets represent our declaration to the world that for America's self-interest, we must increase our work.
I finally spotted my chairman. I did everything except hiss to get her attention. I wriggled my letter at her and hoped she'd remembered I was coming.
solidarity which the Jewish people extend to us is really a matter of life and death. On the health front, regardless of the advances we have already made, it has become an absolute necessity to hold fast to the standards.
First thing, she congratulated us on our achievements. And then she suggested I see the visual aids department. It was all one big help Hadassah. Just then they began to come out of the meeting. And I got to shake hands with the Hadassah woman who now heads the American executive of the Jewish Agency. Inside, sure enough, there's the visual aids chairman painting herself just like a workman. And there are the displays being made for next year. Oh, we simply must reserve some of them for our donor girls. Now, don't let's forget. Somebody make a note. And then it's time to go to my chairman's own department. And boy, is she proud of it, as though we're her own baby or something. Now, in her department, that's promotion. They design and prepare all our kits and printed materials, manuals, kit covers, pamphlets, over 70 items, of which chapters buy 3 million pieces a year. It's here that our headlines are written and edited, and our radio and TV work is done.
To your movie department. Your volunteer chairman takes much of her picture material herself. There she is. We also commission films. Now you're going to see a newsreel we're making. It's not finished, remember.
I heard the music going even before I went in. You know, it's like a regular little theater. Now, wait till you hear this.
Across the face of Israel, Hadassah daily perfects its far-flung healing, teaching, and research programs. Among its newest projects is a volunteer corps called Ya'al. The letters mean Helping Hand of Hadassah.
Girls, you could have knocked me over with a feather. Who do you think I saw? An Israeli Hadassah volunteer. I thought I'd die when I saw a woman rushing just like crazy, just the way we do, and heard the man say, guess what?
This is a member of Ya'al, and I can assure you that Israeli Hadassah husbands are not yet accustomed to this newest Hadassah service. The way their wives rush through the household chores, leave the children, and dash, so they can keep a regular schedule as staff aides in Hadassah hospitals, clinics, welfare stations, and youth aliyah settlements. Here they go to pick up the day's assignments. Their first stop is the Seligsburg School, where a new building is going up now. Their assignment to pick up cookies for some convalescent youngsters, whom they will later take on an outing to Hadassah institutions. The women stop as women will.
And guess what? They showed some of that fabulous needlework for our fashion show. Well, here were those kids, Yemenites and Moroccans and others, actually sitting there doing the most wonderful things, beating old patterns their mothers brought over, only modernized, and working at looms, all set up in the sun.
Like all its work for youth, the goal is to set standards and discover the hidden talents in each child. Now we are riding down the Street of the Prophets, where Hadassah's 5 Jerusalem hospitals are located. Following our group of Ya'al workers, we pick up these youngsters recovering from polio and other diseases for our little trip.
I learned that we take care of 32,000 children a year, and that every day 8 babies are born in our hospitals, and that we employ over 1,200 doctors, nurses, and other specialists to staff our installations.
Let's go along on the ride. See these barren, neglected places. In areas like these, Hadassah has planted 2 million trees and redeemed 150,000 dunams. Its latest project will be in the Lachish sector, where a vast territory is being built from scratch to combine an industrial and agricultural economy. Our kids first visit one of Youth Aliyah's settlements, where Hadassah helps maintain the newcomers, most of them from Arab countries. In surroundings like these, they are taught to love the earth, to nurture it and make it flourish. Children thus trained become expert farmers, artisans, teachers and soldiers, free citizens of a true democracy.
Oh, you should have seen those Hadassah volunteers with the children they were taking around. You could tell that they loved it. And you could understand why they chose a youth aliyah settlement for the outing. It was such a steady, peaceful place.
To go on giving children like these from the ghettos of the world a chance to fashion new lives, Israel must and will keep its doors open to swell the ranks of Youth Aliyah, which has been mothering, teaching, and befriending 75,000 boys and girls since 1936.
And I said, Amen, Amen, we'll help you.
Now our children are being taken to one of Hadassah's 36 health centers in the Jerusalem corridor. Tens of thousands of newcomers live in Mabarat in this area. In some places, the Hadassah Medical Organization, vocational and youth aliyah projects combine to give on-the-spot education and training of various sorts. Here, for instance, are pregnant women who have come for a checkup, being given a nutritious lunch, being taught this way how to balance their diet to have healthier children. While this is going on, their youngsters may be learning crafts in another sector nearby, or gardening, or shoemaking, or stone quarrying.
Well, the man also told how Hadassah teaches the mothers to make their own layettes. And girls, he said that some of the money we raise from supplies goes to buy this material made in Israel for flannel baby clothes, uniforms for doctors and nurses, sheets and pillowcases.
You must not forget that one of the great contributions made by Hadassah is its belief in volunteer service. Increasingly, Hadassah will get more for its service dollar as more Israeli women through Ya'al stretch hands across the sea to the volunteers in America. Let's follow our little crew to Ain Kerem, where Hadassah is building its medical center. As you know, Ain Kerem lies a short ride from Jerusalem.
Remember those stories about how the plans took years to perfect, how the road was being built, how the earth was already supporting the first foundations, how the nurses' school had been started? Well, you won't believe me, but I almost cried when I saw the actual place, because that's where they took the children. And there I stood, too, on the very place which would be the second floor of one of the buildings. And there were the very hills I had seen in the model I touched only a few minutes ago. Oh, it wasn't just a scene in a movie. This was my building, and my machinery, and my hills, mine and yours. There was something wonderful.
Let's take a jump now to one of Hadassah's Jerusalem hospitals. You're in the courtyard where book distribution takes place on fine days. Also a Ya'al service. But look from the books to the people, because statistics are numbers, people are real. These are the actual heart, leukemia, malnutrition, and other patients who benefit from the latest cures because of the splendid fellowship program of Hadassah.
He was right. Statistics were one thing, but this was the actual child suffering from rickets, learning to walk. The actual mother being helped by mental therapy. The actual little one with burned hands sucking the lollipop. The actual recoverer from ringworm learning to use his fingers again. These were also the actual volunteers, our sisters, you, me, and the woman next door, making surgical dresses for Ya'al. Gossiping, I knew as we all do about husbands and families. The healing of the daughter of my people. The same daughter, there in Israel, here in the United States. But the next part was the most wonderful. The man in the movie was telling about work for the blind, about trachoma and how so many newcomers had it, and then about research, how our doctor was the first to transplant the cornea of the eye in Israel to prevent blindness, and then about another experiment.
I'm now going to tell you about one of the most remarkable experiments in Israel. Please listen carefully. With two others from the Weizmann Institute, this very Hadassah doctor, realizing that the percentage of cells with chromocenters was different in males and females, extracted cells from the amniotic fluid surrounding an embryo before birth, tested it, and thus was able to predict before birth whether the child would be a boy or girl. Then came the first birth, which was to test the experiment. It was an ordinary day.
And my dears, there was this Yemenite father waiting outside the hospital, wanting a boy desperately, not believing that when they said they were pretty sure it would be a boy. And getting his wonderful gift of a son from the hands of your doctors. Oh, Lord, the wonder of it. I tell you, I shouted Mazel Tov myself out loud like that, because I gave birth to that son, too. And you did, and we all did. So you see, it was you being honored, not just me. And I wondered if I could make you understand it, make every Hadassah woman see how important it is, as a Jew, as an American, especially now, to go on helping Israel, so beset with troubles, so brave, such a miracle, helping with love. Well, if we do that, it's just got to become a better world. It's just got to.
You see what I mean? You live with a woman, same house, same town, day in, day out. And you never wonder what makes her special. Then the angle shifts a little and you see them all differently.